Hi guys, and welcome to the Semrush webinar. Been my first webinar in a while, but I'm back again with Joe Bondarowski, and he is sitting in sunny Portugal, which I'm quite jealous about actually. I love Portugal. So he's sitting in sunny Portugal with, is this the final one, Joe? Is this
the final one of the series? Yes.
Final pay-per-click webinar of the series. Joe has done, this will be the 5th webinar, I believe, and you can watch the other ones if you like what you see today on the Semrush YouTube channel. There are some good knowledge snippets in there, just, you know, all about pay-per-click and stuff like that. For anyone who hasn't been on any of the previous webinars, Joel, can you just introduce yourself and tell me a brief bit about you?
Sure. My name is Joel Bondarowski. I'm based in Tel Aviv, actually, where I work very heavily in the online marketing industry. I have experience working from some startups in Israel before I founded an online marketing agency called Quality Score, which is a boutique online marketing agency that handles some very large online marketing activities. Since then, I started working a little bit on my own. I'm working on promoting some of my ideas and topics, which is what I'm doing with these webinars, just trying to share some of the knowledge I've acquired over the years. And I'm, just happy to be here and, help you guys out.
I think you're right. So that's cool. And so how are things over in Portugal anyway? I know you're over in Portugal. Is this the second holiday?
Things aren't as sunny as Tel Aviv, that's for sure.
I love Portugal. That's my holiday.
Yeah, I saw that you were just here.
I was there a couple of months ago, but I was trying to see if I could sneak a week there next week, but my wife's not too happy about that, so I'll have to hang fire, I think. But yeah, I love Portugal, so it's all good. So we are just waiting for people to come into the webinar. You can see Jeannie there, John Gravely. So guys, today is your last opportunity to put questions to Joel. Obviously, Joel's going to do a presentation, but we do want to answer questions that you may be struggling to understand, or you know, whatever. Put them to Joel. Joel has all the experience in the world with pay-per-click, and we want to ask him questions at the end of his presentation. So make sure that you do put your questions in the live chat, and I will try and answer, get Joel to answer as many as I possibly can at the end of the webinar. We also have Joel is going to give us a prize or a surprise at the end of the webinar, which I'm sure many of you will enjoy. But we're going to discuss that at the end of the webinar. But there will be a surprise, and Joel will fill us in on how it's all going to work. And I'm sure for you guys looking to learn about pay-per-click, it will be quite a good surprise.
So stay tuned.
Stay tuned, yeah. So I am just checking. People are still coming in there. So we'll give it another couple of minutes before we start. So what else has been happening with yourself, Joel? It's been a couple of months since I've spoke to you.
Oh, I was actually, since the last webinar, I flew over to St. Petersburg, where I worked with Semrush on preparing their PPC Academy, which was a lot of fun, and it was a great experience for me to work with the camera crew and teach a 40-lesson course on PPC. It's something that we're still working on as far as editing goes, and hopefully it'll be live in the next few months. But that was really impressive, and St. Petersburg was wonderful. It really surpassed expectations.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get over there and check it out. I've seen a few of you guys have been over there and seen the snippets of photos and stuff.
So I think I was there at the best time as well.
Yeah. So yeah, get me invited over there, Semrush. So that's cool. We have some questions and stuff already coming in, but we will address those at the end of the webinar. So guys, I think we are good to probably get started. if you want to get your slides ready, Joe, we can go. I think we've got quite a few people in there now and a lot of people talking on the chat, so I'll take care of the questions. If you want to take center stage with your lovely slides.
Sure, I'd love to. Let me go ahead and I hope I don't have any technical problems here because I'm not used to doing it on my laptop remotely, but it should be okay. Okay, how's that look?
Perfect. Spot on.
Okay, very nice. Okay, like that. Wait 1 sec. Okay, so yeah, like we said before, this is my 5th webinar. Sorry, this is my 5th and last webinar in the series. The series is about my 5 pillars of PPC, which are the principles that I follow, that I use when I build, create, and optimize campaigns. In the first 4 webinars, I explained the strategy which I use to follow the first 3 pillars. In this webinar, I will review the strategies behind the last 2 pillars. But before I begin, I would like to do a brief rundown of what the first 3 pillars are. The first one is to put Google before yourself. What this means is that you need to understand that if you're doing online marketing on any pay-per-click platform, particularly Google as well as others, it is a sort of partnership where they need to make money off of those clicks in order for it to be profitable for them to give you the opportunity for those ads to be shown. Pay-per-click is exactly what it sounds like. Google gets paid per click. So if your ads don't engage to the people that you show them to, Google will penalize you by showing them less often, and you'll also have to pay higher per click for them to get exposure at all. To the contrary, if your ads are very engaging, thus more profitable for Google than other advertisers, Google will show your ads more often and allow your ads to be seen at a lower cost per click as well. The second pillar is to be in control, and that is be in control with statistics that you can actually use. Pay-per-click advertising is amazing because it allows you to choose exactly how much you want to pay per click. However, in order to have that control, you need to have statistics you can trust, statistics you can depend on, so you could choose the right bids for the keywords that you're bidding on. The third is to build a money machine. The first real major milestone that is achieved in your PPC is when your PPC campaigns turn a break even and turn it essentially into a money machine. That means that you could then have confidence in your statistics to know that your bids are accurate enough, so that way you will earn back at least what you pay every day into your campaigns. Once you achieve that milestone, your campaigns go from being a financial drain to a self-reliant machine. Now, the fourth and fifth pillars are to optimize for profit and to expand and grow, which is the basis of this webinar that I'm talking about right now. The first big hurdle that you have when you launch your campaigns is to get to the point where you're breaking even. This is a big deal. It is such a big deal because once you break even, you now have a self-sufficient operation where you know that every penny you put in, every dollar you put in one day comes back the day after. This is even a big achievement when your campaigns aren't earning you any profit at all. PPC advertising has the potential to take your online offer to places that you can't really get with other marketing channels. No other channel in the world can give your brand global reach and the ability to sell on massive scales like pay-per-click advertising. However, there is a hard truth that you have to face with pay-per-click, and that is that campaigns are rarely profitable from the start. It takes time and money before you can break even. Once you break even, you're only able to do so because you've optimized your campaigns and ads to the point where the max CPC bids that you set bring you clicks that are lower in cost than the value that the clicks pay you for from the sales that they bring, while at the same time bidding high enough to achieve ad rank so that your ads actually reach your audience. In order to effectively bid on your keywords, you need to know the value of the click of the keywords that you are paying for. Value per click, also I'll abbreviate it as VPC, is calculated with a very simple formula, which is the value of the sale multiplied by the conversion rate. If the value of what you're selling is $100 and 1% of the clicks from a particular keyword convert, the value per click of that one keyword would be $1. Therefore, if you pay $1 per click from that keyword, you should earn $1 back for every click, because 1 out of 100 people will buy. Now, there are certain conditions for accurate bidding. What I described is only two if the following two conditions are met. The first is that history repeats itself, so that conversion rates from the past can be representative of what will happen in the future. The second condition for this to work well is that the sample of data that you use to base your value per click on, to base your bid on, needs to be significant enough so that way it is accurate. If your business is seasonal, you need to keep the first condition in mind. Perhaps you'll need to compare how performance changes in similar seasons so that you can understand if new demand warrants higher bids, or a drop in demand will cause you to overspend after the season drops. However, it is a second condition that is the most crucial. You need significant statistics in order to optimize effectively. If you don't have significant statistics because you have hundreds of keywords or tens of thousands of keywords in your campaign, but a limited budget that is spreading your stats too thin, you're going to you really should cut out a lot of the fat so that way you could focus the budget you have on fewer elements, so that way you could have statistics that are more meaningful and optimize more effectively. Now, I just spoke about what it takes in order to get your campaign to break even, to essentially create a money machine where you're on the threshold of having your PPC efforts go from being an expense, being a drain, being something that you have to justify budget for, to being an asset to your company, which could then grow it to stages that it's never been at before. However, once you've managed to set bids on keywords with confidence, so that way you pay less per click than you're making, you have a strategic decision that you need to make. You need to then decide how much you want to optimize your campaign for profit as opposed to growth. There is a trade-off between the two. The strategy that you choose isn't one or the other, by the way. It's not growth or profit, but what you're going to decide on is something in the middle. The more aggressively you try to grow your campaigns, the harder it'll become to make money off of whatever you have. On the flip side, once your campaigns become profitable, if you focus just on those elements that have been working for you and focus your attention and budget there, you'll be making money faster, but in the long run, your campaigns won't be as large. So if you need to see a faster return for your advertising efforts, you'll need to focus your attention on the campaigns you have running and have already purchased statistics for. This is the strategy to take if you need faster income from your online marketing investment. But like I mentioned before, the trade-off is that it'll take longer for your campaigns to achieve their full potential. Now, after your campaigns have broken even, any slight improvement in optimization from your ads or campaign targeting will result in more traffic at potentially lower cost. In addition, any reduction in your max cost CPC bids, which by the way should have been accurately set by trustworthy statistics, meaningful statistics from those keywords' conversion history, any slight reduction will result in your cost per acquisition going down and your ROI going up. But more importantly, you're going to start earning a profit. However, this profit that you're earning will only be to a point. There's a very common mistake that I see advertisers make, And that mistake is that they sometimes set their goal on cost per acquisition or maybe return on investment, which are both correlated perfectly to each other, as opposed to maximizing profit. While a negative ROI campaign will always mean that you're losing money, a positive ROI does not always mean you are earning as much as you could. Advertisers that focus on ROI or cost per acquisition sometimes sell themselves short by failing to recognize this. If you refer to the example that I show in the slide, you can see how a higher ROI with a lower sales volume can then mean less profit than a lower ROI with a higher sales volume. Once your campaigns are ROI positive, you need to set the right max CPC bids for your keywords that maximize profitability. To do this, you want to first find the right bids to break even with 100% ROI. Once you've reached the break-even point, you can start gradually lowering your bids until your cost per click starts to become less than the value per click from the clicks that you're bringing. Now, it is at this point that both ROI will go up and profit will go up. However, as you keep lowering your bids, you will eventually reach a point where your sales volume drops to the point that your ROI will keep going up, but your profits will start going down. In order to maximize profits, you need to find that point, and that point is the optimal ROI to maximize your profitability. Essentially, that is a sweet spot that you need to be shooting for. Another way to increase profitability on campaigns once they break even is not to lose sight of the first pillar that I described earlier, which is to put Google before yourself. As I mentioned before, Google only makes money when ads they serve get clicks. If you help Google get paid more by writing better ads, which get more clicks, they'll reward you with higher quality score. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with how ad position is determined, it isn't just by the amount you bid. It is determined by your ad rank. Ad rank is determined by multiplying a score that Google gives called quality score with your max CPC bid. The primary factor in determining quality score is the historical CTR of your campaigns. There are other factors, many of which are either good enough or not, such as landing page relevance and also load time. But primarily, the number one thing that you can do to increase your quality score is write better ads. So once your campaigns become profitable, don't stop optimizing your ads. Keep testing them for CTR. Through higher quality score, Google will reward you, so that way you can get more clicks from the limited number of ad impressions that they have to serve. Because you have to remember that Google's limited commodity is the ad impression. What higher quality score will do for you is let you bid less to get the same ad rank and the same positioning exposure. It'll also allow you to bid the same and get better ad rank, thus higher ad position and exposure. And also by improving ads, ad rank aside, your CTR will go up, which means that it will get more traffic from the same number of ad impressions that you're receiving, thus resulting in more sales. All of these benefits that I described compound, which can help them make a very big difference in your bottom line. All that it can take are just a few small improvements on ads here and there, and the benefits can be big. Now, besides improving CTR with better ads, once your campaigns become profitable, you're also going to want to improve your conversion rate. This is another step to get you beyond the point of breaking even and turning a profit. Conversion rate is a big factor, and the value per click of your keywords, which dictates how much you could bid. If you remember the formula, your value per click is determined by your conversion rate times the value per sale. If you improve your conversion rates, you could then afford to bid higher to get more traffic, or even the same or the same for an increase of ROI without decreasing your sales volume or profit. There are really two ways you can improve your conversion rates. The first is that you can improve how well your website converts by improving the experience the user has when they reach your website. This can be done by A/B testing your landing page. It could also be done by creating multiple landing pages that are more catered towards the searches that the users are making. Though your search campaigns might be selling though you may be selling only one product on your website, different ways that people can search for it might warrant different landing page funnels as well. That might all at the end lead to the same checkout process. But that could help reduce the possibility that the user will bounce and increase the likelihood that they will convert, thus increasing your value per click. Another way to increase your value per click is to refine your campaign targeting for a more relevant audience, which incidentally can also improve your CTR. You need to regularly run reports that are segmented on your traffic to understand in detail how people are responding. You'll probably find oftentimes that the segments that are converting less well are also the ones that are clicking less well. By excluding them or maybe bidding down on them, you can improve your CTR. Now, when you're running segmentation reports on your campaigns, you're essentially running reports on different dimensions that can be adjusted. Examples of dimensions could be hour of the day of the week, the device, the geography you're targeting, as well as demographics, among many other things. Running these segmentation reports should be a routine part of your PPC workflow. Also, landing pages, as well as other steps in your sales funnel, need to always be tested and improved. Improvements you make in this area also compound. Combined with the slightest improvements in ads, you could then find yourself with very big gains that could result in very big improvements to your bottom line. Now, a lot of times users that you drive to your site, they enter your funnel, they are very interested, they want to purchase, but they kind of, find themselves on the fence. They're not ready to convert or not. You can help push these users to make the decision to convert through remarketing campaigns, as well as branded search campaigns. To me, these aren't new campaign channels. They're ways to supplement your original online marketing efforts. Undecided users are often researching. They're searching for who you are. They're searching about you. They're searching for reviews about your brand. I've actually heard many advertisers falsely make the argument that they shouldn't pay for people who are looking for exactly them. The truth is that these people who are conducting research because they're not sure if they should make a purchase with you or not can easily end up on a search result that will dissuade them from purchasing from you. Both branded and remarketing campaigns are limited to a very tiny audience. That is, those people who have already visited your site or people who already know you. Because of this, they are very inexpensive. They are a cheap way to give users that extra push to help them buy. And by the way, branded search campaigns will probably you'll probably pay the least amount per click for your branded search campaigns than any other campaign type. The reason for this is that the way quality score is determined, relevance is a big factor, and no one is more relevant for your branded terms than you. So when you bid on them, you're going to pay a tiny percent than that of your advertising competitors. So what I've just covered pretty much is what to do once your campaigns have broken even and you want to focus on making them profitable, so that way you could enjoy the benefits from them right away with less risk. However, this comes at the cost of limiting your market share. You're not reaching your full potential. If you want to, instead of optimize for profit, focus some extra budget into expanding, you are essentially expanding into the unknown. And when I say unknown, you're starting to target things that you don't have statistics on. You don't know the value per click of those new keywords you advertise, or website placements, or audiences on Facebook. Once your original campaigns have been optimized and they're essentially paying for themselves, you have proven one very important thing, is that pay-per-click advertising is a viable marketing channel for your product. Once you've reached this point, you then have a collection of keywords matched with ads and also the sales funnel that you drive them to that have bids set based on actionable, based on trustworthy statistics, based on your conversion history. Those statistics come from values that those statistics are basically statistics you've bought. When you launch your campaign and it's not yet profitable, that's essentially what you're doing. You're spending money buying stats. So once you have one thing that works and it's profitable and you move on to something else, you are then needing to buy statistics again. So the more that you invest in new campaigns, targeting even products or channels that you haven't advertised before, the faster it is that you'll reach your full potential to dominate your market. But it is because of those campaigns come with fresh statistics and you don't know anything about those new keywords, or you haven't yet tested ads for those new funnels, that you're going to, again, lose money on those fresh starts to learn, so that way you could have what to work with and optimize to then make those channels profitable as well. This is why I take on this practice for myself, and I suggest to others that you have two categories in budgets divided for PPC. One is for profitable campaigns that are stable and pay for themselves, and another is the budget you're willing to spend for growth and expansion. Now, as I said earlier, there is a trade-off between optimizing your campaigns for immediate profitability and growing your campaigns to meet their true potential. You could take the decision to take the profits from your initial campaigns and put that into your budget for expansion. Or once your campaigns become profitable, you might take the decision to take a bit more risk, so that way you move faster and reach as much market share as you can by investing more money than your PPC campaigns are earning on new campaigns, channels, funnels, and products, and so on. One thing that I often do, and this is partly because budget and manpower is limited, is to expand in stages. Let's say I launch a search campaign promoting one of several funnels and it achieves profitability. Once it's profitable, I'll then move on to optimize, let's say, another search funnel. Once that's profitable, at that point, maybe I'd want to try another marketing channel altogether. However, if these resources weren't limited and I wanted to expand faster, I would have done something different, which is invest more in everything at once. Now, as far as where to expand and grow your campaigns, you have several options. Now, the most obvious thing to do if you're launching a campaign is to add more keywords to it. One thing that I spoke about in my previous webinar is that in order to achieve profitability faster, especially if you have a limited budget, start with one keyword, or maybe one keyword and several, very, very close related keywords to it. So that way you can become profitable with it, even at a low scale, before you move on. Once you do that, moving on simply means adding more keywords to promote your existing sales funnel and product. If your website has multiple products to promote, you can then expand by promoting new sales funnels as well. Since most of you are running search campaigns, and I keep talking about search advertising and keyword bidding, if you find yourself successful with Google search, a low risk option for expanding to a new online marketing channel, that's actually more like an online marketing platform, would be Bing Ads. Bing Ads is search as well, but because it is the user intent is expressed by the keyword, it'll generally perform more or less the same with more or less the same ad copy as Google Ads. So a low risk way to expand your successful search efforts is to try the same strategy with Bing Ads. However, Bing Ads does have a very limited reach. Your biggest potential for growth comes with expanding into other marketing channels and platforms that have a very, very large reach, that are reaching users that don't even know to look for you. You see, with search advertising, you're really limiting yourself to showing your ads to people who know to look for your product, or who are actively looking for your product. The biggest success can be done if you're able to reach the many, many, many more people out there who could buy your product, but don't know that they want to, or don't know about it. This can be done with Google Display Ads, as well as PPC on platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Now, these people who don't know or aren't thinking about actively purchasing your product are higher up on the decision-making funnel. That is the decision-making process people take before they decide to make a purchase. Before people decide to take action and make a purchase, they first need to become aware that something exists, then interested in it, then desire it, and then be willing to take action and buy it. So in order to sell to them, you're going to have better thought out sales copy to bring people from the top of the funnel down to the bottom. Google display campaigns actually have the biggest potential for the most reach, but they come with many, many more elements to optimize than search or other channels. When you advertise in the Google Display Network, there are many ways you could slice and dice your data to where you can end up finding yourself dealing with an overwhelming amount to analyze. It is also because of that you need a lot more statistics to optimize them. So they become extremely expensive to become profitable. But on the flip side, they have the largest potential for rewards. Now, before I move on to questions, I would like to kind of go through some takeaways that I would like you guys to take from this presentation. The first is that once you achieve profitability in campaigns, or at least break even, you do need to take an important strategic decision, and that is to decide how much you want to focus on growth at the expense of short-term profit. The key takeaway as well is that people need to remember is that new campaigns that you're running, which have negative ROI, they feel like they're losing money, but the money's not just disappearing. If you're running PPC properly and you're tracking your performance properly, you aren't losing money at all. You're actually buying statistics that you're going to use later to turn your campaigns profitable. Something else that's very important is that you stay in control of your campaigns by giving effective bids, by acting on statistics that you can trust. Also, you should want to have separate campaign budgets for new campaigns that are targeting unknown statistics. You shouldn't confuse ROI, CPA, and CPA with profit. In the past, I've worked with a lot of companies that would come to me with a particular goal and say, I want to pay this amount per client that we acquire. They would have in their mind a set cost per acquisition, which oftentimes wasn't the right point of view to have if maximizing profit is your goal. Sometimes by targeting too low of a cost per acquisition or a certain return on investment, you're going to limit the volume that you have to the point where you could be making much less money than if you had a lower ROI or higher cost per acquisition. Always test and always improve your ads for better CTR and quality score. The results from those tested improvements will compound with the results you get from improving your traffic for better conversion rates, and also your ads and sales funnel. Also, branded search is an excellent channel. It's not really a channel, it's an excellent way to push users who are apprehensive and doing research about you to convince them to purchase. If you're doubtful, search for your brand. Search for your brand and then ask yourself, if I was a client interested in my brand, what would they click? You might not like the answer to that. Your own branded search campaigns can help drive that traffic where you need it in order to get those users to sell. Remarketing campaigns as well are a very inexpensive way to supplement existing campaigns. Unlike regular display campaigns, with remarketing campaigns, your audience is limited only to the people who have visited your website. As a result, the audience is much smaller. They'll never be that expensive. One thing that you need to focus on, however, is to one thing to keep in mind, though, is that you do need to segment your marketing traffic from those that are showing buyer's intent to not. You don't want to segment too much. It's a very big mistake that I've seen people make, where they make a lot of tiny segments to where the lists are too small to run. But oftentimes, you could at least exclude people who have absolutely no interest, and those are users that maybe just hit your landing page and bounce right away, as opposed to users that have maybe clicked throughout your site or visited more than once. So right now, I think that pretty much concludes my presentation. I'm ready for questions if anyone has any.
Thank you very much, Joe. And as always, another excellent presentation. Guys, we do have a lot of questions, Joe, but guys, if you've got any other questions you want to put to Joe, we have around 20 minutes of questions. So we do have a fair amount here, Joe. So I will just crack on and go through them. So we have Liav Azran, who's asking, what Excel sheets are you using to track your pay-per-click performance on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis?
Okay, that's a very good question. I'll answer it as soon as I turn off my screen share, so everyone can see me too. Hello. Okay, what Excel sheets am I using to track my PPC per campaign performance on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis? Well, establishing your workflow is very important. Excel, Microsoft Excel reports is kind of the foundation of, if you're doing online marketing, if you're doing PPC, Excel is a very important tool for reporting. If you're running reports, if you're downloading reports, they're going to be in Excel. Excel helps you slice and dice the data that you get from Google the most effective way possible. To answer your question, it really depends on what PPC campaign channels I am running. If I'm running search campaigns, well, regularly I'm going to be adjusting bids on my keywords. That is, if I'm not using Conversion Optimizer, so I'll be regularly downloading keyword reports into Excel, and then setting my bids based on the value per click of those keywords inside of Excel itself by adding a column, entering a formula, dragging it down, and finding the bids as they are. I might make them more sophisticated by having them reference keyword reports that are segmented over different time periods to compensate for any trends, such as seasons going up or down. If I'm dealing with products sometimes that might have wild variations in performance based on hour of the day or day of the week, I might regularly be looking at day parting reports. If I'm running display campaigns, of course, placements are very important, demographics, and so on. But really, it depends on what you're doing. It could go everywhere. But I suggest just regularly looking at every segmentation possible. Figure out what's the most volatile and put in a schedule to check the most, and then everything else, just make sure you check it every once in a while, because you don't want to sweep anything under the rug. You might find out that if you're targeting, let's say, all of the United States, that a certain state is never converting or always losing you money. And you might never guess that if you didn't actually run a report on it. So just try to run reports on every segment you can.
Perfect. And the next question is from Ramon Middleton. He's asking, sorry, I've just forgot the question I had in my head. So he's asking, how do you know when to pause or remove keywords or ad groups and stuff like that?
Okay, that's basically what I'm hearing is let's say you're targeting something with PPC. At what point do you decide it's not working out for me? Now, whether it's keywords or ad groups, it's not the ad group itself, it's what is inside of the ad group that counts, which is the keyword. So let's just focus on the keywords. It really depends on two things. First of all, as I said, my first pillar is to put Google before yourself. If I am targeting a keyword and I find that that keyword gets a lot of impressions, but for some reason no one is clicking on it, I'll want to pause it so that way it doesn't hurt my hurt my overall quality score. Having one keyword that runs amok and no one ever clicks on will affect the performance of your good keywords as well. So if people aren't engaged in the traffic and they aren't engaged in the keyword itself, I will pause it just for that reason. Now, let's say that the keywords do have a good CTR at a good position, or do have a good CTR and the quality is good. By the way, don't go by quality score. Don't pause keywords based on quality score. Quality score is a symptom of the problem. If you have, for example, a keyword with a low quality score, but you're able to write amazing ads for it that get very good engagement, the quality score for those ads will go up. So don't pause based on quality score. Pause based on lack of engagement of the users. Now, there's another reason to do it, and that would be if the traffic isn't earning you money. Well, and what I like to do with my bidding strategy is actually kind of just suffocate the word if it's not working, as I get confidence that the word isn't going to work. If I'm driving traffic from particular keywords and I'm losing a lot of money on those words because they're not buying, I'll lower their bids faster until I start bleeding because of them. The quickness that I will cut bids on them determines on how aggressive I want to be, or how many words as a whole are known to me that I am losing money on. I think that should answer that question.
Thank you. Well answered. So the next question is from Dan Ray. How will Google Ads adding a third headline and second description affect CTR in your opinion?
Sorry, how will Google Ads what?
How will Google Ads adding a third headline and second description affect click-through rate?
I am not 100% sure about what the result of that will be, but it is interesting to see. I mean, Google is refining their product very well. I think actually what it could do is it could make it so that it could improve conversion rates. The reason why it would improve conversion rates is that you're giving the user more information to understand what they're going to see before they actually click. You're taking a little bit of the bulk off of the landing page and you're putting it on the ad itself. So the users that do click might be a bit better informed about what you have to offer, so they'd be less likely to bounce and more likely to convert. But as far as how CTR is affected, I'm not sure at this point.
Excellent. And the next question is from Suck Law Firm. I'm not sure how you'll answer this one, but they did ask, how do you do something like remarketing when your service is one that Google has blocked from remarketing?
Okay. You could, there's other platforms you could do remarketing on, such as Facebook ads. You could use Facebook remarketing pixels and remarket that way. There is a roundabout way that might be able to get you on the Google Display Network that you shouldn't do, because it could end up banning your entire account. And that would be using a real-time bidding platform that buys banners and the Google Ad Exchange. But that is not something that I would suggest you to do because you could get in trouble off of it. But I do know that, like for a lot of industries, Google is limiting remarketing. In the healthcare diet industry, for example, they don't allow remarketing anymore, while they used to. I am not sure exactly what the compliance rule is regarding law firms, but I am curious now and I will look it up later.
Well answered again, Joel. So the next one is from Presidential Conversions. They're basically asking, can you give a brief overview and the benefits of setting up your pay-per-click campaigns with a goal versus no goal?
Okay. You're basically saying what the difference is between starting pay-per-click campaigns when you are optimizing for a conversion versus not at all. The difference between the two is that one of it is that you are, both of them will drive you traffic, but you cannot optimize or refine that traffic unless you understand how it's performing. You're not getting the most out of what pay-per-click advertising has to offer you if you're not tracking your conversions and sales. You cannot do effective bidding. You cannot understand the value of the clicks you're getting if you don't understand how well they're converting. Let's say you're targeting traffic from 20 different keywords and they're all driving you the same amount of clicks. You cannot know whether one is better than the other, and one should receive higher bids than the other, or one should be excluded while the other were not. So yeah, you could drive traffic without goals, but you're really going to be selling your pay-per-click advertising effort short. And I do suggest that you solve whatever technical issues you have, so that way you can properly track your performance.
Thank you again, Joe, for that. The next one is from Luke Runnels. Hopefully I've pronounced that properly. What's your strategy for increasing qualified leads and decreasing unqualified clicks?
Increasing qualified leads and decreasing unqualified clicks. I think the two kind of go hand in hand in a way.
Yeah.
Okay, so for increasing qualified leads, okay, so what you're describing is a type of sales funnel that has multiple steps, multiple conversions. Your first conversion, let's say, is going to be the lead, while your final conversion could be the sale itself. What you need to do in order to decrease the amount of unqualified leads that you have is figure out a way to attribute the lead, the keyword that brought the lead, to the sale itself. You need to essentially make a sort of report, a keyword report that doesn't just only show cost per lead by keywords or lead conversion rates. When I say lead conversion rate, I mean of how many clicks the keyword brings, how many leads does it bring. You also need to be able to include another column that shows the lead to actual sale rate. So that way you could understand, okay, people who, what can often happen with lead generation campaigns is that some of the terms that people search for that have the highest conversion rates to leads might have very, very, very low lead to actual sales rates. So the bottom line is that you need to find a way, and there are ways out there, to attribute the actual keyword that brought the lead to the sale itself. So that way you can optimize not just for leads, but actually qualified leads. As far as unqualified clicks go, well, I mean, there's two, it's reference back to the webinar. You can improve your traffic sources. That's one thing. You could optimize where your traffic's coming from. And also you can maybe write more ads that are, I'm not going to say more honest, but more that are more related to the product you're actually offering. Your CTR might be lower if the ads better reflect the product or service that you're offering, but the people who actually do click on it are going to be more likely to be qualified.
Cheers, Joel. We will try and squeeze in another couple of questions before we get on to the juicy giveaway. So I think I've got 3 more questions before we get on to the juicy giveaway. So Victor Joshi would like you to elaborate on the difference between ROI and CPA.
Okay, not much. ROI means return on investment. So let's say, and CPA is cost per acquisition. So let's say you're selling a product and you break even when you pay a $100 CPA. Sorry, the $100 isn't a good number for this example. Let's say you break even with a $50 CPA. This means that you will have a 100% return on investment if your CPA is $50. As your CPA goes down, your ROI goes up from that point to where, let's say you're able to sell at a $25 CPA, you would then have a 200% return on investment. and so on. The two are directly correlated to each other, which is why I said not much. They're basically the same thing. The difference, I guess, between the way you would define them is that if you say, is that CPA leaves a question, leaves something else to be answered, which is, what is your break-even point? If someone says, hey, I'm selling at a $50 CPA, well, is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. If I'm selling at a $50 CPA and my product is, and I earn $50 for each sale, then that means 100% ROI.
Thank you. Thank you. So the next one is from Saugat Adhikari. Hopefully I've said that somewhere close to what it should be. What are your strategies when your buyers are located in different countries? Do you think running a country-specific campaign is a good idea?
That's a very good question. I like that one because I face this quite a few times. Okay, it depends on. It depends on what the issue is. I've sometimes run international. I run campaigns for products that were targeting the entire world, that were sold to the entire world. However, these campaigns, the people had much different conversion rates at different times of the day. Because of that, the campaigns had to be very heavily day parted. When I ran these campaigns, I found myself needing to segment based on time zones because people buying early in the morning in Australia weren't going to respond to the same way as to day part in the same way as people buying at the same hour in the United States for the same product. So if your campaign performance varies greatly by hour of the day, you might find that you need to divide campaigns because of time zone. Now, if it's about language, my advice there is not to. You need to have good statistics in order to make actionable decisions. If, let's say, you segment campaigns by every country you can, well, you might have enough stats for the United States, but then you might be running a bit thin for, other English-speaking countries with smaller populations. So, having said that, when that's the case, you might want to find yourself you might want to segment your campaigns based on the language. In other words, have an English-speaking campaign versus a Spanish campaign, with a Spanish campaign targeting Spain and Latin America, and English-speaking targeting the English-speaking countries out there. This could become tricky if your campaigns are optimizing, let's say, for leads or a micro conversion, and the lead to actual sale rate varies greatly from one of those countries to another. But that's generally my rule of thumb there. And and for any of these questions, by the way, if you'd like to follow up with me and ask in more detail, we do have one thing you can do. And if not that, we'll talk about that soon. And if not that, you can also hit me up on Twitter or LinkedIn. I mean, it's just search for my name and you'll find me.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll always get you. It's Liquid Joe on.
Yeah, don't ask why.
Yeah. So I'm sure we will have your Twitter ID put up in the live chat in a moment if Semrush can sort that. So we will have another question, which is from John Gravely. What is the logic of running branded pay-per-click campaigns when you're already ranking #1 for your branded search and the organic results?
Well, the logic is because the people who are searching for your branded terms are people who are really ready to buy. If you look at a search term report for your branded terms, you're probably going to see the word reviews right after it, or maybe scam, or maybe trustworthy. These are people that are only looking for these terms because they want you, but they're just not sure. Yes, you might be ranked #1 organically, but there are other people ranked there as well. And those other people who are ranking for your branded terms might not be people that are going to be doing your brand justice. I think that if people are searching for your branded term, they are sitting on the fence, they're about ready to make a purchase, and the few cents that you pay per click from that branded search campaign is totally worth it to help push them to the other side, because that's really all it is. Branded search campaigns are very cheap. The cost per click for them is very, very, very low. That is unless your branded term means something else. If that means something else, so that way it could be confused with something else, and something else could be, targeting it. But if not, your branded traffic is going to be the cheapest you'll pay for, and you shouldn't be cheap with it. It will help supplement the traffic you bring in, because those people are looking to buy. Those are people that have come to your site before. They're super interested. You just need to help push them a little bit extra. And if the 15 or 5 cents per click it costs gets them to do that, you should definitely do it.
Thank you, Joel. I was just putting your Twitter ID into the group chat there. We will have one more question, and then we're going to start talking about your giveaway. So the last question there came in from, just 2 seconds, I need to scroll up again. It's Tyler Shanley. Would any services or business types benefit more from Facebook ads or other routes versus AdWords, in your opinion?
Yes, for sure. It depends on, if you're selling a product that, it depends on a few things. Facebook ads targets people based on who they are more and the things they're into and the type of circles they run with and so on. If you're selling a product that can appeal to a very, very wide audience, especially if it's a product that people don't know to look for, and even more so if it's a product that Facebook ads, helps you target better by the targeting techniques they have based on, their interest and whatnot, Facebook can work better for you than another channel. As opposed to, let's say, you're an emergency locksmith. Well, if you're an emergency locksmith, you want to show an ad for people who pick up their phones when they're locked out of their houses and they're searching for emergency locksmith. A Facebook ad appearing in someone's newsfeed when they just don't happen to need it at that time isn't going to do it. So for things that are more, when people are looking for something, search works better. When it's a product that, when it's a product that is, when it's a product that will be sold to people who know exactly what they want when they need it, search works better than when if it's something that people really don't know about, especially when if it's something that can be sold on a very wide scale.
Perfecto. Thank you. And some of the guys in the live chat have also thanked you for your kind answers.
You're welcome, live chat.
Now on to the good thing. So Anton's been in the live chat anyway, discussing your surprise. And just to give you guys an idea of what that surprise is, if you've missed it, is next week, and we will determine the date later on, we will have a closed hangout session with Joe, with 10 chosen randomly out of the applicants who will be able to put their questions direct to Joel, and you will grab some of his time to get some one-on-one pay-per-click education. Now, to apply for this, you need to send Anton at Semrush an email. You only have 30 minutes to apply, and Anton's email is I'm going to spell it actually. It's a.shulke@semrush.com. His email is in the live chat just now. You've got to apply within the next 30 minutes, and 10 of you guys can join a Google Hangout with Joel. And Joel, can you just give the viewers a bit of how this is going to be set up or how it's going to work?
Yeah, basically it's going to be a session where a select few people will be able to have some one-on-one time with me. I'll be, available to answer whatever questions you want. There won't be very many people that will be attending, so the few that do attend, we'll be able to, have their questions answered directly, and we'll be able to talk one-on-one and expand on it. I believe it also won't be broadcasted, so whatever we discuss will stay in that, in that session, and won't be going online on the website or YouTube or anything like that. But it's something new that we decided to try to help, give a little bit more for everyone here. And, we look forward to seeing how it'll work out.
Yeah, guys, so just make sure if you do want that one in time with Joel, which I'm sure most of you, after listening to the knowledge he shared over the last 5 webinars, it's well worth taking advantage of. He's got the experience, knowledge there. So if you want to grab some time with him and put any questions to him one-on-one in a closed thing. So as he said, it's not going to be live, it's not going to be broadcast anywhere. Then email Anton within the next 30 minutes and get your name in there and take advantage of Joel's kind offer. And the date will be confirmed later on in due course. I'm sure if you follow Anton or Joel on Twitter. The guys will be tweeting about it whenever it's going to be confirmed. I will also post about that as well when the date's actually established. So thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. Joel, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to host
for me as well.
You over the last 5, and I'm sure we will do more in the future as well. So thank you everyone for joining, and thank you, Joel, for sharing that information over the last 5 webinars.
You're very welcome. It's been a pleasure all mine too.
Perfect. Catch you guys